Hi, my name is Meg Seberg, and I am a career advisor in the Office of Career Services at Loyola. And I'm here just to take a few minutes to talk with you about some post-career fair strategies. We talk with students all the time about how to prepare for career fairs and big networking events, as well as how to engage once you're there. But it's just as important after you attend events like this to understand what the strategies are for following up. Just because you attended the fair or the event doesn't mean that your work is done. So first, after the fair, you need to ask yourself, how well did I prepare for it? Did I have the things that I needed? When employers asked me for things like my resume, did I have it? Was it good? Did I have a short kind of elevator pitch or an introduction prepared? Was I ready when asked about myself to share a little bit of relevant information with employers? Do I feel like I networked well? And if this is your first fair or your first big networking event, there may be a lot of room for growth. So it's okay if you look back on it and you think, man, there's definitely more I could have or should have done. Did I give my 30-second elevator speech? Did I introduce myself with purpose? Career fairs can be really chaotic. There's a lot of people there if it's an in-person event. So having a 30-second pitch prepared when you do get the opportunity to talk with somebody is really critical. This can be a little more challenging for a virtual fair. For virtual fairs, oftentimes you have to schedule meetings with employers in advance if you want to get a one-on-one, or you have to be really proactive in a Q&A if an employer is giving a presentation. So think about it. Did you do those things? Were you able to give that 30-second speech? What went well? What do you think went well? What are you happy about in regards to how you engaged in the fair and how you engaged with employers? And on the flip side, what might you do differently? Again, for many of you, this might be the first time you're attending something like this. So what might you do differently? If this is a virtual fair and you did not schedule any appointments with any of the employers or companies in advance and you weren't able to get that one-on-one opportunity, maybe next time you'll do that so that you have the opportunity to introduce yourself and to build a little bit of a connection. What did I learn about myself? Maybe you're actually more of a natural at career fairs than you expected. Or maybe it was more overwhelming than you thought it would be. So what did you learn? And what did you find out that you hadn't previously considered? A lot of times the purpose of a career fair or a big networking event like these is to learn about employers or open positions that you wouldn't have otherwise known about, and maybe even what employers are looking for in a candidate. And of course, on top of that, these fairs are opportunities to meet people that you could potentially follow up with. So that's what we're going to talk about now. So the first thing you want to do after the fair is to get organized, or after any major networking event that you attend, even if it's maybe like a big conference. Keep track of your leads. If you were in person and you were able to collect the business cards, make sure those are accounted for. If it was virtual or if you were writing down contact information, make sure that that's somewhere centralized. We recommend using an Excel chart with a couple different columns, a column for your contact name, the name of the company, the contact information of the person you met, so email and phone number, and then any notes from the conversation. Likely, if you connected with one employer or one person at an event, you connected with several. So keeping notes immediately after the event of how those conversations went can help you when you do re-engage with people to remind them of who you are and what it was that you discussed. And this is advice for job searching in general. If you're a student who's actually very active in your job search process, if you're searching job boards, going on company websites, attending other events, doing informational interviews and other outreach to people in your network or working to expand your network, keeping an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of all that information and all that activity will be really useful because it can be really easy to lose track of some of that stuff. You want to follow up with people that you meet at career fairs within 2 to 5 days. You can do this by email if you got an email address from somebody, or you can connect with somebody through LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, then we strongly recommend that you create one. You should be in control of your online presence and online narrative. This is something that employers will search to try to find you at some point in your professional development. And it's a way for you to make that initial connection if you don't have a phone number or an email address from an event. We have advisors through the Office of Career Services who can help you with this. And I strongly recommend that you schedule an appointment through Handshake or by calling our office to meet with one of these advisors. If you have questions about how to create a LinkedIn profile, or just in general, if you have questions about networking and how to follow up after a career fair. If you do connect with somebody through email or LinkedIn, you want to introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself. Maybe it's a person you did have a conversation with, or maybe it's somebody that you heard speak and learned from, but wasn't actually able to have a conversation with in that moment. So either introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself through the email or through LinkedIn. Tie your skill sets to match the open position. So if they shared information during the event about a position that you're really interested in, briefly let them know what you're bringing to the table. Let them know that you're excited to pursue a position and work for their company, and tell them what sets their company apart from others. You don't want them to think that you're just casting a wide net. You want them to know that you sought them out very specifically. And then explain how this is really what you're looking for, and that you truly value their input from talking to them at the event, or from hearing them speak, or from reading their information if it was electronic or virtual. When you reach out to people by email or by LinkedIn within 2 to 5 days of the event, you want to keep it brief. A paragraph at most, a few sentences is fine. If people see an email that's really long, even if they would be inclined to respond, they're less likely to do so because they think they have to match your language. So make it easy on them. Don't make it a lot of work. One paragraph is enough. I talk to students a lot who say, oh, I met so-and-so at a class or at an event or at a career fair. It was really exciting. I'd love to work with them. And I say to them, okay, cool, that's awesome. When did you meet that person? And a lot of times they'll say a month or more ago, and that's too long. You have to reach out to people pretty quickly after you meet them or hear from them, so that you keep the connection fresh and you stay fresh in their minds. You want to maintain and expand your connection. So, when you're reaching out to somebody, or if you reconnect with someone, see if there's an opportunity for an informational interview. This is an interview or conversation that you set up. It could even be called a coffee chat. It doesn't always have to be perceived as this really formal thing, but it's an opportunity. It's something that you set up with a person who's working for an organization or working in a role that's of interest to you, and see if they can take 20 or 30 minutes of their time to talk with you about what it's like to work where they work or to do what they do, and answer some of the questions that you have specifically. You can touch base with people to maintain relationships occasionally, and ask them to hold on to your resume for future opportunities. So if you make that initial outreach, it's okay a couple weeks or months later to circle back with the person and just check in, see how they're doing, see if there's any open positions, and let them know that you're still interested. Stay on their radar. And then consider how that relationship or company can expand your current options. You want to polish your personal brand, and this is actually something that I would recommend doing before you use LinkedIn to reach out to anybody, is to make sure it's updated, make sure your profile is reflective of the narrative that you want to be telling employers. It's going to be one of the first places that recruiters go to look you up. So if you put your name on a list somewhere with an organization or a company at a fair, or if someone searches you after you contact them, this is where they're going to get a lot of information about whether or not you might be what they're looking for. And then you can use it to, like I said, to connect with employers that you meet at career fairs. You can use it to maintain relationships with people. You can use it to join groups or to follow employers within your industries of interest. There is a feed where you can like or engage with articles that people are posting or announcements that people are making, so that without having to always have an email back and forth or a conversation, you can keep a relationship going. If at the career fair you received feedback on your resume from any employers, and they say, yeah, you sound like you might be a good fit, or we'd encourage you to apply, but make sure this resume includes this or that, or make sure this resume is formatted in a certain way for this particular type of job. If you receive any feedback like that, make sure you make those changes right away before you reach out to somebody or apply for a position. And then you can always get a second pair of eyes on a resume or on your LinkedIn profile from the Career Development Center, which is, again, the office that I work in. We have advisors who work with students across all industries and majors. And the last tip is just prepare for interviews. A lot of times after a career fair, there are more opportunities to apply for jobs or internships. That's why the employers are there, is to tell people about their companies and organizations, and oftentimes to share information about specific roles that they're looking to fill. So if you do follow up after the fair and you do submit your application materials and then you end up getting an interview, you have to prepare in advance. And this is something that you can do through the Career Development Center. It's something that you can do with friends or family, something that you can do in the mirror, something that I've done before in prepping for interviews. Just practice saying things out loud. There are common interview questions that employers ask. There are absolutely questions that you can prepare for. And it's always important to do your own self-reflection. What are the skills and experiences that you are bringing to the table? Where do those skills and experiences intersect with what an employer is looking for? And then how do you connect those dots? And not just by telling an employer that you're good at this or you're good at that, or you have skills in this or experience in that, but by actually providing them with concrete examples of how you've used skills in past jobs or class projects or internships or volunteer opportunities. So make sure that you prep for those interviews and practice. Again, this is something that you can do through the Career Development Center. Our advisors are available throughout each semester to do mock interviews. We do them all the time, so that you can practice saying out loud the examples of how you are connecting the dots between what is in your background and what employers are looking for. I do just want to share a few resources with you. Around this time last year, I did a one-on-one virtual interview with Jacob Voss, who's an alum of Loyola. He is in the career of public relations. At the time, he was working for Edelman. He gives a lot of really good tips on networking in this interview and ways to be successful through networking, and he kind of contextualizes why networking is important. He draws from his own examples in his life of how networking has really gotten him where he is. And then he provides his own contact information at the end and says that you can feel free to reach out to him on LinkedIn. So he could be a person that you add to your network. So I recommend, it's about a 30-minute YouTube interview. I'd recommend reviewing that. And then schedule an appointment. So here's the link. If you go into Handshake and click on the Career Center, there's a button that says Career Center. Once you log into Handshake, if you click on Career Center, you'll see the option for scheduling an appointment, and then it will take you through the steps that you need to take in order to get connected to the advisor that's right for you based on what you're studying. And then you can always visit our website, www.luc.edu/career. We've got a lot of really good information on the website about how to engage with employers, about how to put together resumes and cover letters, how to set up informational interviews, if that's something you're looking to do, how to put together a LinkedIn profile. So absolutely, I recommend as part of your follow-up to check these things out, check out the Jacob Voss interview, make an appointment with a career advisor, and just start to explore our CDC website for resources that will be useful to you in your professional development. And that's all I have for today. So I wish you all the best in your job search. We're here to support you. My name again is Meg Seberg. My email address is MS as in Sam, IE, B as in boy, ERG as in girl @luc.edu. You can feel free to reach out to me directly as well. Okay, well, thanks so much. Have a good rest of your semester.